Last time on Spoiling Movies. Weird curvy road that doesn't make any sense. So he's just like in the dark, just going. He ends up flying off a cliff, and the guy wakes up, and they're both freaking out. And he like presses the button that makes the soft top on the convertible come up a little bit, and it like makes like a parachute and kind of like lowers them to the ground. The criminal guy says, "Get out of the car, Pee-wee! Get the hell out of here!" And Pee-wee's like, "No, man, I still need your help or whatever." And he's like, "You don't want no part of me, Pee-wee. I'm a loner. I'm a rebel." Like he had said to Dottie at the beginning. Then there's this interesting little animated sequence where it's completely pitch black, but you can see little animated Pee-wee eyeballs across the screen, and he's still talking, saying stuff, and the eyeballs are doing this and that. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, I just remembered I had that headlight glasses from the magic shop." So he turns it on, and there's just a bunch of crazy wild animals. There's like an actual cougar. Like there's certain animals. There's like wolves and bears and all kinds of weird shit just all around him. And he goes, "Ah!" So then somehow he gets back to a road, and there's a big old semi-truck that picks him up. And there's an old woman trucker lady driving, and she says, "This night reminds me of the most terrible wreck I've ever seen. And it was on a night just like tonight." She starts freaking him out. And then later, like, they kind of cut between what she's saying, and she's like, "And then when they pulled the bodies from the twisted, burning wreck, it looked like this." And it's this crazy, like, Tim Burton, like, stop motion animation, like, creepy face, and it's so cool. "Yep, that was the worst accident I ever seen." And then he's like, "Okay, I get off here." And so she lets him out, and he's like, "Tell him Large Marge sent ya." Drives off. So he gets into this, like, off-the-highway diner place, and he walks in, and everybody's just kind of looking at him, and he's like, "Large Marge sent me." And everybody's like, everybody stops. Just kind of stares at him. And they're like, "Large Marge died many years ago." And he's like, "Well, that means that must have been..." And then everybody in unison says, "Her ghost!" Because I guess they needed to spell it out for the kids. He didn't realize Madame Ruby, the psychic lady, took his wallet, so he doesn't have any money to pay for the food that he eats at the diner, so they let him work there. And there's a waitress, and she's being kind of flirty with him, and she says, "Before you leave, well, come watch the sunrise with me." So they go up into this big weird dinosaur, it says dinosaur museum on a sign. I always thought this was very strange. So they go up into this dinosaur thing that they're allowed to walk up inside for some reason, go into a place where it's like inside the dinosaur's mouth and like look out to see the sunset. But her boyfriend guy, he looks like a cross between Mario and Donkey Kong. He sees them go into the dinosaur thing, and he gets angry about it. And he hears them talking about stuff, and it kind of, what they're saying kind of sounds sexual, like Pee-wee's banging his girl or something. I never understood this strange cut, but the movie goes from like when the sun is rising and it's still very dark to like bright daytime. The boyfriend Donkey Man, Mario, grabs a fake bone off of a sign and decides to start chasing him around. So super dumb chase scene. Mario finds some train tracks and train going by, decides to jump on the train, get out of there. Then there's a dream sequence with some interesting music. And there is another stop motion animated dinosaur like the one he and the woman were watching sunset in. And it's like it has his bike, and the dinosaur eats his bike. And he's like, "No, no, no." It looks so cool. I love it. So then there is a hobo drifter dude on the train when he wakes up, and he's like, "I want some sardines." And like, "No thanks." And then they start singing some songs. They're like, "Jimmy crack corn and I don't care. 23 bottles of beer on the wall. Like, when she coming around the mountain, when she comes." And the guy just like keeps going, and Pee-wee starts getting exhausted from all the songs that he's singing with him. So Pee-wee just decides to jump off the train wherever they are because he can't handle singing with that dude anymore. But look at that. He ended up in Texas. That's where the Alamo is. And he goes and like in a tour of the Alamo with a big tour group, And eventually, when it's over, he's like, hey, well, why didn't we see the basement? Because that's where he was told the bike would be. And the lady that was in charge of the tour group was like, there's no basement in the Alamo. Ha 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 ha. And like everybody in the group just like, ah ha ha. They're just laughing in his face. I didn't know the Alamo didn't have a basement. I never thought if it did or didn't. Somehow Donkey Mario boyfriend man has found him in Texas and starts chasing him around. So he gets into like a trailer somewhere and dresses up like a very, very strange looking cowboy with like a mask on. But apparently he must have been dressed like the star of the bull riding competition, because they put him on a bull, send him right out. And then I guess because the guy was wearing red, the bull chases him out and hops a fence and just chases him out into the distance. So for some reason, Pee-wee ends up in a biker bar and he's using their payphone and they're being real loud and he's like, shh, I'm on the phone. So they all go like, what the fuck? And like walk up to him like, hey, the fuck you're up around here, are you? So he's like, I guess I'll just be going now. Excuse me. Excuse me. And he's like trying to get through. Excuse me. Excuse me. And they're all just kind of fucking in his face. But he makes it outside and he accidentally knocks over all of their bikes all in a row. Do-do-do-do-do. They knock down like dominoes. So the guy's like, grab him, then they bring him back inside, and they're like, I say we kill him. One guy's like, I say we hang him, then we kill him. Another guy's like, I say we hang him, yeah, then we kill him, yeah, then we do some other shit, yeah, and then we kill him again. That's not what they say, but it's like there's some interesting thing that happens right there. Pee-wee's trying to pretend like somebody in the audience and do a ventriloquist thing. He's like, I say we let him go. And they're like, no! And then he's like, just give me one shot to do something, you know, one last request before you guys kill me. And they're like, okay, fine. So he puts on a song in the jukebox. And it's... And he puts on some big weird white cloggy shoes. I have no idea what type of shoes these are. And so he starts like dancing around and they're all like until he gets up on the bar and starts like picking up glasses and just breaking them, and they're like, yeah! He's just yeah! To me, that's fucking cinema history. That song is forever attached to that movie for me, and it's so good. So after they're all having a good time, because he danced and entertained them, they're like, they let him go. They make him a part of the crew. He walks out, and he's got one of their vests on. They give him one of the bikes to send him off, and he gets on the bike, and he's like, badass, like, catch you around. He immediately just runs into a big sign, breaks it, and falls over. So then there's another really cool dream sequence with that same interesting music. He's in a hospital, and the doctor is like performing surgery on his bike because like some evil clowns have picked up the pieces of his bike and brought it into a hospital to do surgery on it. The doctor uses a flamethrower to try and take care of it, and Pee-wee's like, and the doctor takes off his mask and he's got clown makeup and he's like, ha 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 ha. And then Francis is there, but he's dressed as the devil. And like the bike is being like lowered with a claw like into a vat of like fire or liquid or something. And Francis is like, no, no. And like, and it's so cool. The music and everything is so fun. It's truly eerie and it's very odd. So Pee-wee sees that his bike is now being used in like a Hollywood show or movie. He sees something on TV. So this kid is acting and he's like a poor orphan and he does this thing. And then they cut, and in between shots, this nun lady's like, I can't work with this kid. He's an asshole. And the kid's like, well, I think you're a fucking asshole. And the kid is being a fucking douche, like a fucking giant pain in the ass. I actually think that was the kid that was like the older brother from Wonder Years, maybe? Off camera, the kid is just being a huge, entitled Hollywood douchebag child to this older actress lady that's dressed as a nun. But when they're on camera, he's like, I love you, Sister Mary. He's like, she's like, you're such a blessed child. God bless you. The director asked the kid Like, are you ready to roll? And he was like, I was born ready! Roll! Pee-wee shows up, grabs the bike, rides off set with it, and then he goes through like a bunch of different sets where they're recording shit. He goes through like one where there's like Godzilla and monsters, and he just like rolls through on his bike. They're doing like miniatures and shit. So then there's like studio lot security chasing him. They're on their own bikes. One of the guys gets next to him while he's running away, and he like tries to reach over. He's trying to grab onto the Pee-wee's handle, and Pee-wee's like, no, no, slapping his hand away. Pee-wee's still riding his bike through other movie sets, and he goes through like a Christmas one, and somehow Santa's sleigh gets attached to it. And then somehow, like, a boat with wheels gets attached to it, and Pee-wee's just laughing as he, like, ruins all of these movie shots. And then Dee Snider from Twisted Sister is shooting a music video, and he's, like, on top of a car, and he's trying to be cool. And they actually do, like, I don't know if that's a real music video, but it's like, no, and he's, like, singing, trying to be cool. Something like, burn in hell, burn in hell. And the bike has, like, smoke that comes out of the back of it to fake, to mess with the people that are chasing him. And it also has some type of liquid that it like spits out from the back of it while he's riding that doesn't seem to do anything. But that bike can do a lot of stuff. I actually think the liquid that was coming out of that was meant to be flammable, and that was supposed to be a thing, but maybe that was too violent for kids, possibly. So he's about to ride by a pet shop, and he sees that it's on fire. And he's like, he's still being chased, but he parks his bike and decides to go into the pet shop because he needs to save the pets. So he walks right in and he sees the snake terrarium, and he's like, ugh. So he goes and he saves the monkey first, and the monkey ends up helping him, and then he saves the dogs next. And then he saves the birds, and he looks at the snake thing, and he's like, ugh. And he saves the rats, and then he saves the gerbils and the fish, and eventually he walks out with just snakes all over him going, So then when he wakes up, they're in a Hollywood studio, and the man in charge of Hollywood says, we're going to make a movie about you, Pee-wee. Tell us about your story. We'll make it into a movie. Also, here's your bike. But they just wheel in the bike. Then it cuts to a drive-in looking theater. Everyone is there. Rich guy Hollywood man that he just met. He brings the guy in his limousine. He brings him like a hot dog. The homeless dude that he was on the train with, that he was singing with, him and a bunch of other homeless dudes are there with a fiery barrel. And we see what's on the screen. It's the story of Pee-wee that has been Hollywooded. So there's like this weird bearded kind of James Bond dude. The bike in the movie is now it's a motorcycle, but they call it like the X5000 or something. And then ninjas are trying to steal it. Fights off ninjas, and they get off with his with his motorcycle bike. There's a prison bus also, and it's got the guy that he was riding in the car with earlier. The guy that ripped the tag off the mattress. He gives him a foot-long hot dog, and the security guy grabs the hot dog and pulls out a giant razor and then gives him the hot dog. Pee-wee was trying to break that guy out of jail with a giant foot-long razor in his hot dog. But Pee-wee is actually in the movie, not as himself, but as like a hotel concierge or something. And they changed his voice because his voice, I guess, wasn't good enough for the movie. The guy playing Pee-wee in the movie is like, did I get any calls right now, dude? And Pee-wee, as an actor in his own movie, is like, nothing right now, Mr. Herman. The lady from the diner is there. The biker dudes are there. And his next line is, Mr. Herman, you have a telephone call at the front desk. And then the guy playing him in the movie is like having a scene with the female counterpart. Pee-wee's just kind of like sneaking into the shot, just kind of smiling, just kind of like sneaking in between them as they talk. And the James Bond type dude that's playing him in his own movie says to the lady, I know you are, but what am I? And Dottie is there. The love interest lady shows up, and she's got his dog, and they're hanging out. And then Francis shows up. Francis has a group of people, and he's like, this story was also kind of inspired because of me. Isn't that right, Pee-wee? And he's like, yeah, that's right. Get on the bike so people can take your picture. So he gets on the bike, and he like presses a button, and it goes boing, and the seat shoots him off into the sky. And then there's like a weird little animated silhouette bikes going across the movie screen. And that is the movie. It's a shorter movie than I remembered. I've seen it so many times as a kid. I absolutely adore this movie. And I don't know if it's because of nostalgia or because I think it's actually a good movie. I mean, not necessarily. It's kind of a parody. It's kind of a goof. I mean, the whole thing's a big, silly goof. But, like, Danny Elfman doing the music, that's amazing. Tim Burton, I'm a fan of Tim Burton, and I like what he does. I feel like visually, all of his stuff is very cool. But also, this throws in, like, why would you choose Tim Burton to do your children's movie? Like, this is basically like the show was for children and these movies are basically for children. Who are we gonna get? The crazy macabre Tim Burton to do this. So there's scenes that are like truly creepy and eerie, and then other times where it's just funny and silly. The middle kind of sags a little bit when he goes to Texas. There's several scenes that I feel like are not as strong. The beginning and the end are super strong. I like them very, very much. I'm a big fan of this movie. I totally recommend it. I had a blast rewatching it, and I know some of you are gonna call me a nostalgic lover of weird stuff just because I was young when I saw it. That's the only reason I like it. But what I have to say to that is, I know you are, but what am I? Catch you next time, guys. Thanks for watching.
You're a blessed child.